Gene Galin here with the Chatham Journal. I've got Asheebo Rojas of the Chatham News and Record, and it's our weekly Chatham NC Sports Roundup. We're here on a Thursday instead of a Wednesday. The Chatham News and Record newspaper is now coming out on Thursdays. Plus, we've both been tied up for the early part of the week. Here's a rundown. Asheebo's going to talk about all the stuff going on in Chatham News and Record newspaper. He's got the articles in there, last week's scores and results. Of course, everyone's favorite, and we did hear some feedback on this last week that is something folks pay attention to, both the athletes, parents, and the fans of the athletes and students. So that's good to know. Big thing coming up this Saturday is the girls soccer championship games. Chatham County doesn't just have one team playing this Saturday, but they have two teams, and both Asheebo and I will be planning to be there for those. So let's go to it. Let me get rid of this, and Asheebo, it is getting to be it's yours to go. And look, we already got 4 people on. Thank you for watching. We had over 400 people watching last week, so thank you very much. All right, let me.
Yeah, so this week we have another round of some really good stories highlighting our Chatham County athletics, players and student athletes, coaches as well, and athletic trainers. So starting with Northwood's athletic trainer, Jackie Harpham, she won the North Carolina High School Athletic Association Elton Hawley Athletic Trainer of the Year Award, which they announced Thursday, and she'll receive her award at the award celebration held at Greensboro Coliseum campus on June 12th. So congrats to Ms. Harpham on her excellence as an athletic trainer at Northwood. She spent pretty much all of her high school career at Northwood. You can read more about her story in the Chatham News and Record, her background, and just kind of about her time at Northwood and what she hopes to do with her career as an athletic trainer. And then also we have Callie O'Neill, another story on Seaforth's soccer player. She doesn't play for the Seaforth soccer team, of course, but she spent some time with Team USA the past couple of months. Now she's back with her club team, NC Courage, but playing a pre-professional team, and she was the youngest North Carolina Courage program player to ever play for the pre-professional team on May 19th. She played with the U23 team, and they tied. She started with the U23 team last week, and in their first game, they tied with South Georgia Tormenta FC 1-1 to open their season. And she also started in the second game, making her first start for the pre-professional team in her career, and played all 90 minutes in the second regular season game in another rematch against South Georgia Tormenta FC, in which they won that one 4-1. So you can read more about Callie's, making history with the North Carolina Courage and continuing her great soccer career on the semi-professional level. And then we also have the carryover from last week, story from Jared Worley, the new Seaforth AD. We have a question and answer from the interview that me and Gene did with him last week. And you can also watch the full interview on Gene's YouTube at Gene Photo. That's the name of his channel. And yeah, we just talk about kind of his approach to the job, his background, and also too, get to learn a little bit of fun facts about him as well. Just what he's like as a person and what he plans on bringing to Seaforth Athletics as Jason Amy will transition out on June 14th. And then we also have our regular roundups with the recaps and results from last week's sports. And then we also have a game story from Seaforth's regional semifinal win over number 1 Franklin Academy that put them in the regional final. In that one, they had to overcome many obstacles, smaller field, weather delay, a dark field with no lights at the end, and they pulled that one out 1-0. And now they're sitting here in the state championship after winning their regional final game earlier this week on Wednesday. And on Tuesday. I'm sorry. And now they're in the state championship, getting ready to play number 1 seed Pine Lake Prep from the 2A West region. So just plenty of great stories from last week's sports in Chatham County that you can read about. And of course, we have our athlete of the week, which we'll get into a second, because now I want to get into just running down the results from last week's soccer. And we also had the start of American Legion baseball for Chatham County's post 292 team. So starting with girls soccer, we had number 4 Seaforth in the 2A East region heading to his first state championship game after beating number 10 Clinton 1-0 in the regional final on Tuesday night. And in that one, the Hawks, they really just dominated Clinton in the regular season. They dominated Clinton in the regular season bout on May 2nd, 5-0. But this one, it wasn't as dominant the second time around. And C4 took plenty of shots in that first half and during the game, but they just weren't capitalizing on the shots early on. But they finally broke through. 13 minutes left in the second half when C4 junior Caitlin Erdman set up freshman Elizabeth Platt to score the Hawks' only goal of the game. And then, of course, the Hawks defense held strong for their 17th consecutive shutout this year, carrying from way in the regular season, I think back in April, to now, up to now in the state championship. They haven't allowed a goal since April 10th. So, like I said, C4 will play number 1 Pine Lake Prep Saturday at 6 p.m. Saturday at 6 p.m. at the Mecklenburg County Sportsplex in Matthews, North Carolina. And then, of course, before that game, like I said, C4 took down number 1 Franklin Academy in the regional semifinal 1-0. And then on the 1A East side, we have number 2 Woods Charter still going strong. They're sitting for a third straight date with Christ the King in the state championship after losing to them twice in 2022, 1-0, and last year 3-0. But yeah, this year, after beating number 1 Voyager 2-0 in the 1A East regional final, like I said, they're back in the state championship, and in that one, I think they were scheduled to play Voyager earlier in the season, but I'm not sure if that game was played. But they won 2-0. Once again, another shutout for them. They played some really good defense as well in the playoffs, only allowing 3 goals this postseason. And before that game, they dominated number 6 East Bladen 5-0 in the regional semifinals. So Christ the King and Woods Charter, they'll battle out for the 1A state championship for the third straight time Saturday. And that game will be at 11 a.m. also at the Mecklenburg County Sportsplex facility. So that's a wrap on girls soccer from last week. Like I said, Saturday is a big day for Chatham County, and I'll be there to cover both games. You'll catch my updates on Twitter, and I'll also have interviews after the game as well. Should we see some rings being handed out for our Chatham County teams? And then in American Legion baseball, Chatham American Legion Post 292, they opened their 2024 season with a 4-1 win over Randolph County Post 45 on Saturday. Then they played in a Memorial Day tournament on Monday, but they lost to Wayne Post 11, 3-0. And then Tuesday night, last night, the Post 292 Chatham's team hosted Hamlet for their home opener. And in that one, the Solid City Mater, Donald A. Matthews came out through the first pitch, but unfortunately for Chatham County's team, they just couldn't get going on the mound and couldn't really get going at the plate as well. Hamlet, they were just really, really doing a good job hitting the ball and also making really good defensive plays to kind of leave Chatham's runners stranded in that one last night. So it was a tough one as they lost 11-3, and I think they're playing Hamlet again tonight, but at Hamlet down in Rockingham County. So that's what we have going on so far. And also we'll have some action with Chatham County also has a softball team playing as well, I think, in another league. So we'll have some updates on them next week because I think they have games playing this week. So that's just a wrap on what we have in Chatham County from last week as far as sports scores and results. And yeah, just more of an in-depth preview of the state championships for our girls soccer team. Looking at Pine Lake Prep, C4's opponent in the 2A championship game. Pine Lake Prep, they're coming in with a 21-1 overall record, 11-1 conference record in the Catawba Shores Athletic 1A 2A conference, which is also the same conference as Christ the King, who is playing at the 1A level. And then just for Pine Lake Prep, they've allowed just 3 goals in the playoffs, another really good defensive team. And they're led by junior midfielder Avery Garrett, who leads the team in goals. She has 24 goals in a year, assists, and points. And last year, we had Pine Lake Prep. They lost in the regional final to Wheatmore. So they're not used. I mean, they're not new to a deep playoff run. They're used to being on this stage, and now they want to kind of finish the job. But Seaforth, also a young team that's coming in, new to the state championship stage, but they're not new to playing and beating really good teams, especially here in this playoffs, as they've found different ways to win, and they have a really good duo, and Sophia Viana and Caitlin Ehrman. So I think Seaforth, this will be a tough game. I think for Seaforth, just because they're playing, of course, an unfamiliar opponent, in an unfamiliar environment. They're used to playing at home pretty much all of these playoffs. I think they've only had to travel once or twice. So, but with a young team, it's interesting to see how they respond to the challenge of coming in and trying their luck at their first state championship for the girls soccer program. And then for Christ the King, they're coming in with an 18-3 record here in the 1A against Woods Charter, 9-3 in their conference, and they've just allowed 2 goals in the playoffs. And then for Christ the King, they're led by Addison Angela Pierce, a freshman midfielder who leads the team with 24 goals. She also leads the team in shots and points. And of course, we know, like I said, this is the third straight time Woods and Christ the King are meeting in this state championship. Gene, you were here the past 2 years to see Woods play those 2 games. I mean, when you compare those, look at those games and compare them. Just what did you see, and how do you kind of think this year's will play out?
All right, let's start with Woods, and then we'll go to Seaforth, because I think you made some good points on Seaforth as well. Woods has, I mean, last year's game, it was the second time they played in the championship and they lost. Girls are really disappointed. Coach Stewart was disappointed, not happy. They're going into this game. You and I had talked about this before we started. The interesting thing about it is Woods is a number 2 seed, if I'm not mistaken, and Christ the King is a number 12 seed. Now, that's kind of unusual for them. However, you said that they're playing in the same league as they're doing that 1A, 2A thing, so they landed up with a 9-3 record. But again, they're 1A playing against 2A. Now, Woods has also played tough competition because, as you know, you and I were at the Woods versus Northwood game, and Woods versus Seaforth game, right? And Seaforth won that one 4-0. So again, Coach Stewart is not afraid of playing tougher teams. I'm hoping that they are able to do it. Third time may be a charm. However, the thing you and I have briefly touched on is the fact that 2 of the girls on the Christ the King team have made, if you go to high school OT, you'll see they made the all-star team. So the fact that 2 of them made it, it's going to be a tough match for Woods. I know the girls, having played, and most of the girls are back after the last 2 years and last year. They're going to be ready for this one. The game's at 11 o'clock. We'll see how that goes, but it will be a tough game. So again, that's all I can say. I'm hoping both teams do well. And when you fill in folks on the information on Christ the King, they were in that 1A, 2A, and they were 9-3, and they finished what, 3rd in that conference?
Yes, they finished 3rd in that conference.
Okay, so yeah, it's going to be a tough one for them, and we'll see. Coach Stewart's got these guys prepared. They have played tougher, higher division teams. It's just going to be a matter of, can they play? It might just be a matter of, are they going to be psyched enough to win this one? And I'm hoping they will be. On your Seaforth thing, you know what? Yeah, it's their first game in the championship, but Seaforth seems to have been able to win games that you may not have thought they were going to win. I mean, you've seen enough of their games. I don't think it's out of the question, even though they're competing against the number 1 team or number 1 seed, that they couldn't win this one. And I understand. I think they're Seaforth's having a bus leaving at 3 o'clock to head down to the Charlotte area, and I think there's going to be like a whole bunch of parents and fans going down there. So hopefully they'll have a bunch of folks attending that event. I know you and I will be there. Folks, you need to, let me pop this up really quick on Asheebo. There's his Twitter X account, Asheebo R38. He will keep you up to date on it. I'll be taking pictures, so I won't be doing the same thing he's doing. and he also usually follows up with post-game interviews. So hopefully, in both situations, again, I'm a homer. In both situations, the Chatham County teams will be victorious. But still, the fact that you've got two Chatham County teams in a championship game on the same day in the same sports is outstanding. I think Asheebo, you and I talked last week about how well Chatham County athletes, student athletes, have performed this year. So, what's your? You talked about some of the background, but what's your gut feeling about how both teams are going to do?
I think honestly, I think with Seaforth playing a team that came just short of reaching this round last year. Also they're young. I think they're going to come in, and of course, they like to play fast. Play aggressive down the field. They're gonna take shots, and they're going to try to run it up on you. But I think with the pressure of this game and just knowing Pine Lake Prep is another good team that plays also really good defense. I think that was going to be a little closer, kind of like the Franklin Academy game, in that one. And I know that was a smaller field. The defense didn't really have to move around too much in that one, and you couldn't really kick the ball. They couldn't really kick the ball like they wanted to down the field and get out and run with Caitlin and Sophia as much. But I think they'll be in a really low scoring, close battle in that one. I feel like Woods, to me, my gut feeling for them though, I think is more of they're going to win that game just because it's a familiar opponent. And even this playoff run, we know they've been missing some key players that have been out, and they've still found ways to win against some really good teams. They've been able to take punches and respond, like in the Northmore game. I think they went. Then they go down 1-0. I think in the Northmore game, came back and won that one 5-2. So, I mean, they've just really been able to fill in those pieces and keep chugging. Of course, Sienna has been playing really well too in the playoffs. So I think Woods has a really good shot at finally doing it this year and getting over that hump and beating Christ the King. And Seaforth, like I said, I think they're going to be in a tough game. That one to me could go either way. I'm leaning towards Seaforth because Sophia, Caitlin, that's just been a duo that's just been pretty much unstoppable this year, no matter who they've played. And even in that Franklin Academy game, it came down to a play where Sophia got a break, Caitlin got open, and they found each other for a score. So I think it's very likely that Chatham County will come away with two teams bringing home the state titles after Saturday. Gene, you might be frozen. Okay, I think we lost Gene for a second there. When he comes back, though, we're going to get into Athlete of the Week once we wrap up our discussion on girls soccer. Well, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do Athlete of the Week as well. But yeah, like I said, I think it's a good chance that we'll have two Chatham County teams taking home the state titles after Saturday's girls soccer games. But yeah, Athlete of the Week for this week, just to wrap it up and this roundup up before you guys get going for the rest of the day. We got Katie Leonard from the Seaforth girls soccer team, their goalkeeper, winning Athlete of the Week this week. And then number 4, Seaforth's big win over number 1 Franklin Academy in that 2A East regional semifinal. She made plenty of huge saves to keep the Patriots out of the net in that one. They were throwing a lot of shots at her, especially at the end when they were desperate to try to tie the game or take the lead after Seaforth went up 1-0 in the second half. And, she just stayed strong and even saved a penalty kick with 11 minutes left to play, with just over 11 minutes left to play, which was really big for Seaforth. It really kind of just took the air out of Franklin Academy. And, according to Max Preps, just looking at her stats, she leads the team this season with over 72 saves. She hasn't had to work too much this playoffs because, like I said, they've gone they've They've shut out 17 straight opponents. So Katie actually got a little bit more action in that one, and I'm sure she'll get some more in the state championship game. So we'll see how she does, and we'll wish Charter and Seaforth the best of luck as they go down to Matthews and compete for state titles this weekend and wrap up the spring sports season. All right. One second, y'all. I'm waiting on trying to see if Gene can reconnect. Just to wrap us up. If not, then I'll go ahead and end the stream. There we go.
All right, we're back. Oh, no, I'm locked up. There we go. All right. I don't know where the connection went bad, but we're back again. We need to talk. We were talking about soccer. Was there anything else we need to talk about? Soccer? We haven't talked. You haven't told us who the athlete of the week yet. So why don't we wrap up on soccer and then tell us who the athlete of the week is?
Yeah, actually, I just went through it because I wasn't sure if you're gonna come back, but I can do it again just for your sake.
Yeah, just do athlete of the week. Hopefully everything else, because it was still running, but there was a disconnect somewhere.
Okay, but yeah, athlete of the week once again. If you guys have heard it already, is Katie Leonard, the goalkeeper for Seaforth girls soccer team, and like I said, in their win over Franklin Academy in the regional semifinal, she made plenty of huge saves to keep the Patriots out of the net. Especially in the second half when they got desperate, trying to throw more shots at her and to try to take the lead or tie the game or take the lead. And she even saved the free kick with just over 11 minutes left to play, which took the air out of Franklin Academy's chances of coming back and winning that game. And if you look at Max Preps and her stats, she leads the team with just over 72 saves on the year. But, she hasn't seen much action, like I said, throughout these playoffs and the many points of this year. So she'll probably see some more action, as the playoffs wind down, especially in the state championship game on Saturday. So we'll see if she'll be able to continue that great work she did in the net on Thursday and lead the Hawks to victory. And like I said, just wishing the best of luck to both Seaforth and Woods Charter as they play in the state championships this weekend.
Yeah, I suspect that the athlete of the week next week will be one of the girls soccer players from this weekend, because I think that's the last sport that's still being played. Yep. Well, let's jump. Did you see the videos of Drake Powell practicing over in LA?
I just saw the picture Northwood posted on Facebook with Chris Paul. I know they kind of already had a relationship because they kind of talked when they went to Oregon back in I think in December. So it's really cool opportunity for Drake to get to learn from Chris Paul, he's from North Carolina, one of the best to ever do it at the point guard position. So I'm sure he's picking up plenty of good tips from Chris Paul there.
Yeah, and you're right. They did run into each other at Portland. And the other interesting thing is, in one of the multiple sports websites that cover high school recruiting, Drake was. They have an item saying Drake wants to live eventually in LA. So you never know. And we'll see how he does next year at UNC, and if he how long he stays there and moves on. But if he's getting advice, and you do need to find a video because he's looking good, and it's nice to see one of our local guys practicing with someone who's, I'm sure he's learning a lot, who did well both in the ACC and in the pro sports. So I think that's all we got to wrap up. Hey, folks, it's been a great year in Chatham County high school sports. We're going to have one more. We're definitely going to have one more live stream next week, and then Asheebo and I will figure out how often we're going to do that. Asheebo's been doing some coverage on baseball. We may go to once every couple of weeks or once every month until football season. But then again, there may be some 7-7 high school football going on. Oh, Asheebo, you mentioned there's some middle school stuff going on with football over in Siler City. What's going on with that?
Oh yeah, JM is really tapping into its middle school, the eighth grade class, and kind of getting them ready for high school football because, like with Coach Carter, he's trying to build up that program once again, to where it once was during his time in high school. And really, like we already talked about, what the problem here in Chatham County is, there's not any football between the elementary and high school years. So middle school, kids pretty much, are not really playing. So he's trying to get down there and give them an opportunity to work on their skills, to get better before they transition into high school, and also just teach them the game and get more interest back in the sport down there at Siler City, starting at the younger ages of the middle school kids, elementary kids. So Coach, I think Miss Burkle had posted the video, or Jordan Matthews, I posted their video with the kids, doing the bag drills, just doing football drills to kind of get that started.
Yeah, and I know a lot of former JM students who played football would love to see the program kick it up a notch again, because there was a time, and Bill Hall talked about it when we met with him and Jared over at 79 West, that they used to be a powerhouse here in Chatham County. So we'll see if we can't get that kicked back up. And I think, and you folks have heard this, Asheebo's working on an article on middle school football and more. You're planning to have that come out sometime in the fall, right?
I haven't really fleshed out all the details yet. I'm still working on kind of how I want to do it, because I'm thinking about maybe a series for the summer to lead up into high school football, just because I'm gonna need some content, but just still fleshing out the details of that. But I do want to reach out to some people, talk to some people about that, and know more about it, and kind of what is there to do in order to make middle school football happen. So
yeah, I think with the growth in the county and the interest that may hopefully eventually happen. The other thing, folks, I need to let you know, Asheebo has been nominated. Some of his stories have been nominated for North Carolina Press Association awards. I think those will be coming out in late August. So if he wins, I will definitely let you know what he wins for. And it's worth going out there, picking up the paper, reading what's going on, because he's doing a fantastic job covering what's going on here in Chatham County, especially Chatham County high school sports. All right, Asheebo, anything else? I will see you on Saturday, but anything else folks need to know?
Nope, I think we got it all covered for now.
All right, folks, I will review this to see where the break was, and hopefully it went out okay. And otherwise, we'll see you next week. Are we thinking Wednesday or Thursday? Do you have a preference?
I think it depends. We'll talk about it, because
right.
Yeah,
we'll let folks know. All right, folks, we're out of here.